you start.
Okay. Well, I was out to dinner with my cousins in India, and I was probably 18 at the time, and there was this big conversation of, Indian culture, Indian this, Indian that, and I said something about it, and they were like, well, what do you know? You're not Indian. And I said, yes, I am. Like, of course I'm Indian. And I said, what else would I be? And they said, well, you're Canadian. And I said, well, okay, yeah, I was born there, but I'm Indian because, both sides of the family, you're just Indian. Your genetics say 100% Indian. Trust me, we even did the Ancestry.com and 23andMe just for, that's another story.
Yeah.
And it came back 99.9% Indian, right down geographically to our area. So I said to them, I said, no, I'm Indian. And they kept saying, no, you're not. You haven't lived here. You don't know. Like, you're not the same as us. And I was like, but I'm Indian.
So the only issue was that you never lived in India.
Correct. And, when you live amongst the people, let's call it, whether it's Canadians or Indians or Mexicans or Japanese, they view themselves as more authentic. As opposed to being born abroad, because when we were little and we'd always go and visit, and my grandfather's friends would come and visit, or we'd go over and visit to their house, and he'd always take me along, and they'd go to introduce me to other grandpas, and they'd go, oh, she's a foreigner, meaning foreign girl, and
Wait, Mai means girl?
Amai
means girl, yeah. Or they'd say foreign means wachikni. And which means she came from foreign, and it was like, oh, okay, well, here I am. I'm wearing all my Indian clothes, of course, and I'm like, I look just pretty much like every other kid on the street, except slightly fairer, just from the cold climate of Canada. And but there was very much a differentiation.
And your own experience?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so first, I grew up in Bahrain, which is in the Middle East. And so we were all, like all of our friends and our neighbors, we were all anomalies. So there was never a conversation, are we Filipino or we're not Filipino? Like, because we were all in this sort of mid-place, all expatriates, all immigrants in this country. But it came when I came to the U.S. or when I would go to India. And what didn't happen until I was much older because I have younger cousins. And very much older cousins. And so my older cousins, accepted us, they spoiled us. But our younger cousins, they're a team. But it's very, very apparent, I don't know the slang, I don't know colloquialisms. And so, I think, when I went to India, I would wear the same, clothes. I would feel like I came from, the next town over, but my cousins would be all dressed up very trendy, but my grandmother would be like, don't wear Indian clothes, wear them, you're the one who came from foreign, right? And I'd be like, no, I want to, and I do, and I don't think I ever really had an identity crisis until I met Indians in America. And a lot of times the Indians in America would make me feel like you don't belong here, but even in India, until I was much older as an adult, when I would go to India, they'd be like, no, she's not from here. And my cousins would, sometimes our family friends would be like, stay in the car, come after we leave, so that no one sees us together, because when you come, immediately when I open my mouth, the prices are jacked up. And so we went to this tea stall that's on the road, like a tea stall. And I was just standing with my cousin, and we were like, he was like, how much is per cup? And he looked at us and was like, it's 200. My cousin, and I was like, okay, I'm reaching for my purse, and my cousin was like, let's go. And he moved, because it's usually 20 rupees.
Oh, wow.
Something that is so cheap that it's 20 rupees.
So 180.
But there's the Indian price, and then there's the foreign price at all the tourism places too. So when, in Hyderabad, when you go to any of the forts or anything, or when we went to Delhi when I was pregnant with Sunil, so it would have been 23 years ago, with my ex, and it on the thing it says Indians 50 rupees, foreigners 500 rupees.
That's right.
And so my dad went
Only because
ahead.
there's more Indians that go on a daily basis.
Okay.
And so why would you pay Indian?
Well, and also
I'm
the
okay
exchange
with
is
that.
nothing for us, you know,
Right.
like
You know,
$5.
yeah,
and
so-
we would pay more than that to go to the
Okay.
Empire State Building.
you know, something like this kind of happens in Nigeria too, but not in a very. I don't think it's that obvious. Like, but I don't know if they do that to Nigerians that are visiting. Maybe right now, but I remember growing up. Like most times, is when you see like white people, like people that are not Nigerians, like, but also those kind of people will get extra preferential treatment, like they get served differently. They get given the best of whatever it is, the best attention and stuff like that. But also they will say kind of with those extra services you get to pay more.
Right.
But I kind of was like when you first mentioned that when you go into stores with your cousins and they will ask you to stay in the car first and come in later, it's like, really? So how do they know that you are foreign, especially when you haven't said a word?
I really don't know what the tell is.
I don't know either.
Maybe it's the dress.
Because I am
But I
no,
wear
but we'd be
Indian
wearing the
clo-
same.
like
yeah.
I wear
Yeah.
like house, like very thin, like cotton clothes.
Maybe we present like tourists or something because we're happy to
Well,
be
we're
there.
probably
You know, we're happy to be there. And we're like,
The
oh yeah, we're going jewelry
mannerisms.
shopping. You know.
I think that's what it is.
And then
It's
my cousins are all
mannerisms.
like, oh,
Mannerism.
we gotta go jewelry shopping.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, because they're getting into barter mode.
That is so cute.
Same
My
thing with me
mom
in
would-
Okinawa.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we spent our summers in Okinawa, and Okinawa is such a small little island, right? And the town that Oba, grandma, lived
Yeah.
in is Naha. Word got around fast, you know, that my sister and I were back in town for the summertime.
Yeah.
And all these kids, it was like stepping on an empire. All these people come out. All these kids come out, you know, they wanted to practice their English on us,
Right.
but we were more interested in speaking Japanese, right? And they wanted to practice their English on us. My sister's, you would consider her very, very dark. You know, I mean, if you put us side by side, she's very dark, and I always envied that
Yeah.
because I wanted to be dark. But in Okinawa culture,
Right.
the fairer, the better, okay? But they were fascinated at how dark she was. They would call her kroino. Kroino in Japanese is like the dark one, you know? And so they would come up to her and they would touch her, you know? But it was
I'm
just the
sure
craziest thing.
your sister loves that.
Yeah, and then my hair, you know, it's naturally curly.
Yeah.
For years I spent hours trying to blow dry it straight, flat iron it straight, because I wanted to
Mine's like
assimilate
yours.
with the Americans,
Really?
Yeah.
okay? I finally gave up. But as a kid, you know, going over there in summertime, I didn't know how to style my hair. I was a kid.
Yeah.
It was like this. And again, they were just fascinated because nobody has curly hair over there in Japan, right? It's all straight. I mean, you pick it up and it goes. That's the kind of hair my sister has. It's that beautiful Asian straight hair.
Girl, your own is beautiful too. It
But-
was just
thank
different
you.
from what
It's
they were
different
used
from
to.
what they were used to. But over time, you know, they got used to of seeing us because we'd come back in the summertime. So it was an interesting experience. I think more for them than it was for us.
Right.